Indiana defeats UCLA 56-6, absolutely dominating the UCLA Bruins early on in that game. Pick six to start it off. I think it was the second play of the game, and at that point in time, you were kind of like, okay, yeah. All the announcers and everybody that picked UCLA to win this game, yeah, bad move by them, which I thought it the entire time going into it. I was like, listen, I can understand saying the game might be close, like kind of going for that, but I did not understand it, people picking UCLA to win that game. It's nothing against UCLA. It's just right now Indiana is unstoppable, and to try and pick a team coming into their stadium, traveling all the way across the country, like, yeah, they did that against Michigan State, but it's also Michigan State. This is Indiana. This is
Mm-hmm.
the second best team, if not the best team in the country, and they sure looked like it against UCLA. Zach, what were your thoughts on the game, and what was the most impressive thing about the win for Indiana?
Yeah, and just to give people an idea, I went more big picture narrative, not as much maybe in game. I think you're going more in game, like highlights of what was impressive. For me,
Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
okay,
Kyle says, I believe Zach called the blowout during your predictions. Not true. I called the
no,
blowout.
no, no, yeah, no, you take your victory lap on that.
I want to set the record straight. I do
Yeah.
not get things right more than Zach most of the time. So I have to set the record straight when that does happen. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you take that victory lap. I'm all for it. I so here's the thing. I picked it closer, not because I thought Indiana was going to win. But I loved the momentum that UCLA had coming into the game, and I'm like, I just don't know if, like, they have nothing to lose. They've kind of let it all out, and they've looked really good the past 3 weeks. I think they're going to give Indiana a hard time, at least for part of this game. Nope, 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 nope. And here's the thing, you already mentioned it. People actually thought Indiana might lose. Like
Well, the
people,
CBS did.
yeah.
CBS, can we talk about CBS for a second? I know this is an Indiana recap right now, but CBS has been awful this season at picking games and trying to predict stuff and everything. Like, it's embarrassing at this point. I get games wrong all the time. They get every game wrong. Like, it it's pretty crazy how
Are
many
you
analysts
saying
they have on there that have picked Washington to beat Ohio State, that have picked Illinois to beat Ohio State, that have picked UCLA to beat Indiana here. And I'm not saying those were wrong picks to think that Washington and Illinois could have beat Ohio State because those teams were at home. It was good opportunities for them, but to go on there and say like this is gonna happen, it's like, man,
I'll
not
just say
good.
this. Two thoughts. One, CBS, look at us. Give us a call.
Yeah, I could replace Aaron Taylor. He could beat me up, but I could replace
It's
him.
true. He would beat both of us up.
He would eat me.
Second thing, they're still better than Desmond Howard. He picked UCLA on game day.
Sounds like something
Ignorance.
Desmond Howard would do.
Yeah, ignorance.
So,
Ignorance.
all right,
Although,
back to
yeah,
Indiana.
anyway. I do have to give him props for something else later on this show, but that's besides the point. Um, but people actually thought, reasonable people, or at least semi-reasonable people, thought UCLA had a chance in this game. They did not have a chance in this game. Like, and this is, I think, it continues to show, I think, people and help people understand that Indiana does not care about what your record is or who you are or letdowns or any of that stuff, right? Like, they just care about them and their process and how they're going to win games. And if you are not up to the task, they're going to drub you. And like we've been learning that, but that's my big takeaway is that, listen, I just said Maryland, could be a sneaky game on Indiana's schedule. It won't be sneaky for Kurt Cignetti. And it might be closer because I think their defensive line can give them trouble. I still think Indiana's going to win that game. And I think Indiana is going to find ways to pull ahead in the fourth quarter, because this is what Indiana does now. This is who they are. And for anyone who's saying, well, Indiana, it's a nice story, but they're probably going to fall short because they're Indiana. That's not who they are anymore. Just it's done. They are a wagon. The
Yeah, I mean,
certified wagon.
at the very least for this season. I tend to agree with you. The people that are banking on Indiana to not be good next year, I would not, I would not bank on that.
Don't
And
do
that's
it.
actually pretty much like my thing that I was most impressed with in this game. Aidan Fisher went down in this one, right? He got the pick six. The defense didn't miss a step though. After Aidan Fisher went down, Aidan Fisher is the star linebacker on this team, and it showed just how good this team is and just how deep this team is. If you were a fan out there of like an SEC team or a contending team in the Big Ten, and you're like, oh, okay, well, Indiana is not as deep as some other teams. Yes, Indiana is not as deep as Ohio State. Ohio State has 5 stars all over their roster, but what Indiana does have is they have very well coached players who are playing very confident football right now, who know what they're supposed to do. And even if you do have a guy like Aidan Fisher go out, you have a guy like Isaiah Jones, Bones, they call him, best nickname ever, by the way. You have a guy like him come in and play absolutely fantastic football for your team. So he's been playing well this season. I believe if he's not still the sack leader at one point in the season, going into this game, he was the sack leader for this team. I need to double check those stats, but he has been fantastic this season. Indiana all over the place. Aidan Fisher, Mikael Kamara, D'Angelo Pons, they get a lot of the credit, but there are so many other good players on this defense. There are so many other good players in this two deep as well. Kellen Wyatt has been a huge addition. I know he got hurt and he's out for the season, unfortunately, but he was a really good addition when he was playing before. Mikael Kamara actually has not had the best production this season, but you still have a very ferocious defensive line for Indiana. Like, the more you see these top tier players on this team either get out of the game or maybe they have a game where they don't produce, but another guy that you didn't even know the name of goes out there and produces, albeit it's against UCLA. I get it. The Ohio State fans are going to see, let's see it against Ohio State. I get that. But still, this is not who Indiana was. Like you were saying, Zach, this is not who Indiana was before.
Yeah.
Indiana was a team that they had a few good players and they could work off them, but the minute those players went out, it was scrubs coming in. That's not what Kurt Cignetti has here. Kurt Cignetti has a very good starter group, and he also has a good two deep as well that's going to be able to come in and play well. And I know Isaiah Jones is not a two deep player. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying you see the two deep players come in to give the other guys a breather, and they look just as well coached, just as confident, and just as ready as the other guys. Alberto Mendoza has come in and played really, really well in relief of Fernando Mendoza. I don't think he's Heisman caliber like Fernando Mendoza is, obviously, but he's come in and played really well too. And that's Fernando Mendoza's brother, which I think is really funny that you have on the box score, you have number 15 Mendoza, and then right under him, number 16 Mendoza. It's like, oh,
that's hilarious.
You got the double Mendoza.
And to your point, this is like, I watched a lot of football yesterday. Indiana by far is the best team I watched. Like, I watched some of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I watched some of Texas. I watched a lot. I think all the Big Ten games except Rutgers, Purdue. And I was cluing in on other SEC games, other ACC teams. Easily, Indiana was the best team. And like, there were a few other teams that I thought were impressive. I thought Miami was impressive in the second half, but unlike the mid that is the SEC, and we'll talk about that in the AP poll segment, Indiana is legit right now. And anything can happen as the season progresses. But at least right now, if you put Indiana against any other team, the only one I might say I would favor over Indiana is Ohio State. Like, and that might be a pick 'em.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we'll talk about it more when we get to the AP poll in the second part of the show, but these people trying to make like Indiana versus Alabama a thing right now.
Don't do that.
It's just crazy ridiculous. Indiana would beat Alabama by 10 points on a neutral field. Heck, they might do it at Bama.
Listen,
I am supremely confident that Indiana will beat Alabama. I have no doubt about that in my mind.
Bama stinks right now. I mean, they were
stink.
Well,
they didn't play well against South Carolina.
They did not play well against a very good South Carolina.
I think they're overrated, but I wouldn't say they stink.
Yeah, I want to say they stink, but they don't stink like the NCAA. That's fair.
I get it.
That's fair.
Anything else on this game? Any thoughts about UCLA before we move on?
I mean, I think people they suck. Listen, Tim Skipper and Jerry Neuheisel, they deserve a lot of credit for them. I mean, what, 4 weeks ago we were saying they're not going to win a game, and they won 3.
Yeah.
So like, let's not downplay what they've accomplished.
And let's not be like the SEC fans where it's like, they actually stink. They're actually 10 times worse than South Carolina. It's like, no. I think if you see South Carolina and UCLA on a neutral field, UCLA might win that game. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.